Hello smart viewers, welcome back to BNews TV Face to Face. Today is all about art. And we also have a really special guest. But before that, let's check out some of the famous museums in the world. Let's check it out. Okay, the first one is the Louvre in Paris, France. The Louvre was a medieval fortress and the place of the kings of France before becoming the museum 2 centuries ago. The addition of IMP's pyramid shocked many when it was unveiled in 1989 as the new main entrance, yet it somehow works, integrating the place's disparate elements. The museum's collections, which range from antiquity to the first half of the 19th century, are among the most important in the world. A good place to start is the Sully Wing, at the foundation of Philippe Auguste's medieval keep. It's in the heart of the Louvre. Kids love it, and it leads straight to the Egyptian rooms. Here are some main attractions in the Louvre, France. The first one is Venus de Milo, and also Winged Victory of Samothrace, and the famous Mona Lisa. The next museum is State's Hermitage, St. Petersburg, Russia. Russia may be isolated from the artistic centers of Paris, Rome, and London, but the Hermitage has managed to acquire a spectacular collection of world art, more than 3 million items, spanning the years from the Stone Age to the early 20th century. The museum occupies 6 buildings along the Neva rivers, the leading structure being the confection-like Winter Place. This gloriously Baroque blue and white structure was finished in 1764, and over the next several centuries was the main residence of the Tsars. Catherine the Great founded the museum that same year when she purchased 255 paintings from Berlin. The museum's focal point is Western European art. 120 rooms in 4 buildings ranging from the Middle Age to the present day. Rembrandt, Rubens, Tiepolo, Titian, Da Vinci, Picasso, Gauguin, Cézanne, Van Gogh, and Goya are all represented here. For in-depth tours, contact Glories of the Hermitage. Here are some of the main attractions inside the museum. The Treasure Gallery's Gold Room showcases golden masterpieces from Eurasia, the Black Sea Littoral and Antiquity, and the Orient. The museum also houses pieces from Nicholas II's private collection, including paintings, drawings, and medals created to commemorate his coronation. The next museum is the Vatican Museum in Vatican City, Italy. 22 separate collections comprise the Musei Vaticani, each one more spectacular than the next. The most famous are probably the Museo Pio Clementino, with its splendid classical sculpture, the Raphael rooms, entire rooms painted by Raphael, the Pinacoteca, which contains the cream of the Vatican's collection of medieval and Renaissance paintings, and of course Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel. But there is also the ancient Egyptian exhibits of the Museo Gregoriano Egizio, as well as the Etruscan offerings of the Museo Gregoriano Etrusco. And that's just a start. Here are some main attractions. Inside the renowned Sistine Chapel and the Raphael's room, this one is not to be missed for sure. The last museum is Musée d'Orsay in Paris and France. Inside Musée d'Orsay, a former train station built for the Universal Exhibition in 1900, with a dramatic glass roof specializing in 19th and 20th century artwork, the museum displays a striking collection of Impressionism, including famous works by Monet, Manet, Renoir, Van Gogh, and Degas. One of the collection is Van Gogh's Starry Night. So those are our collections of the showcase of the famous museums in the world. But stay tuned with us because we got a special guest after this. So stay tuned on BNews TV Face to Face. smart viewers, welcome back to B News TV Face to Face. As I promised, on the second segment, we got a really special guest, and today we have Tom Tangier from the president of the Young Board Collectors. So let's first, it's all about art, and then you're in this board of young collectors. Can you share us, how do you first get involved in the art world? What makes you want to get into this art world? Like that.
Right. When I was, it was about 10 years ago, I was invited by my own sister-in-law to visit a gallery. I used to be a very commercial person, like a person who do business and only know numbers, and so I didn't understand anything about art. So when I first went to the gallery and someone introduced me about it, and I start to get involved and understand. Yeah.
Okay. Why artwork? Why artworks?
Yeah,
why not stamps? Why not toys?
Exactly. So you know, the thing about art is, especially contemporary art, is that it changed the way you see what life is all about, and that's the reason why I really like about contemporary art. And of course, when I first started collecting, it's really about, you know, just collecting works or just having them at home. But when I hang out with the artists and curators, and I realized that art is more than just collecting an item, but it's about the philosophy and the idea or psychology behind the work that the artist is trying to convey. And it changed the way I see life. That's why I'm so passionate about art.
So maybe we can get more detail about it. Like, what is the bigger essence of art? Because you can see, like, people go to the gallery, they post it on their social media and stuff like that, and they will show that I love art. But do you think there is bigger essence of art rather than just that?
Exactly. So I think that a lot of, especially the younger generation of friends, especially those who love to go to galleries and take pictures of, you know, of Instagram and things like that. But I will suggest them to understand more and more deeply about contemporary art. So one of the easiest way is to find out who the artist is, hang out with the artist, or ask the artist questions during the opening, and or even go to, you know, ask a curator or even look at some of the catalogs about the exhibition. Because sometimes when you read the catalog, then you really understand what the artworks is about. And contemporary art is really not about visuals. It's not about just looking at the artwork, how beautiful it is or how attractive it is to you, but it's not. It's about the concept and the idea, philosophy behind the works. So I suggest them to, you know, read more and find out more.
Okay. Do you remember your first artwork that you have?
Yeah, it was more of a Chinese contemporary at that time. So in 2007, it was the era of the Chinese contemporary. So that's how I started collecting the Chinese contemporary. And but I realized that China is so far. You know, I have to go all the way to China to meet these artists and curators. And that's the reason why, in the end, I decided to spend more time in Jogja and Bandung and to meet all these artists and spend time with them and then decide who to collect. So eventually I moved out from the Chinese contemporary and I started collecting the Indonesian contemporary.
Okay, what is the motivation that you said you're shifting from the Chinese contemporary to Indonesian contemporary?
Yes.
What is the motivation behind that?
The most biggest motivation is I think I'm Indonesian and I want to understand my own culture, and also I also want to find out more about myself. And also, you know, it's close by, like Yundi Jogja is just an hour flight, and I can hang out with the artists, I can spend time with them, get to know what their works are all about, and I think it's much more interesting to collect art in that way.
Okay. About collecting art, some people might say that, oh, maybe it's too expensive for me to collect art. What other way can we do in order to appreciate art, especially to support the artists, Indonesian artists?
Exactly.
Especially.
So, a lot of, you know, in the media, we're always exposing about how some artists break their auction record of 200 million or 20 million, you know. So everybody has this perception where art is very expensive. But actually it's not. Like in Indonesia, I think there are still a lot of artists who do paperworks or etchings or, you know, works that are still affordable. And I think even students can afford them, you know. And, you know, I remember when I was a long time ago in Boston when I was in school, I realized that some of my friends who love art, they collect like paperworks of some certain artists, and eventually now they become famous. But at the time, this artist was really like just newcomers, you know.
Okay, talking about collecting, what do you see in the art like makes you, oh, I really want this?
For me, it's always about finding out the artist first, and I really like when an artist's concept is very sincere, and it's not something that's made up, you know. So usually, if the idea really change and move the way I think about certain things, I will start to collect.
Okay,
Yeah.
really
And there are quite a few of artists that can change your mind. They blow your mind.
Okay, interesting. Okay, do you remember one concept by an artist maybe that really moved you? Like
so many
artists that you met, maybe one of it.
Yeah, one of the artists is named Faisal Habibi. He's one of the artists that changed the way I see the world, and it's basically what his idea is about objects. For example, like a knife is supposed to cut something. If they take away the function of the knife, which is like make it soft or it cannot cut, then what will happen to the knife? Do we still call it knife? So he meets all this object, but it's soft knife.
Okay.
But you cannot cut it. But you say, it's still a knife though. Yeah, so he plays with the idea of how we give names to objects and how when the function of the object is being taken out, we still resemblance them with the object, you know. So
okay, that's really interesting. Okay, how about the art environment in Indonesia? Do you think it's enough? Like, do we have like enough gallery maybe, or is it the exposure? What do you think needs to be?
Actually, Indonesia is quite interesting. And now it's Indonesia in the whole Southeast Asia, it's one of the biggest market of art. Yeah, and also and now in Indonesia we have this new museum coming out called the Museum Macan, the first contemporary art museum that's going to come up. And also Artstage is also setting up our second edition this upcoming August. And the whole ecosystem is actually getting more vibrant, and we will be more and more interesting as a ecology, you know. So I think the art scene is very interesting in Indonesia compared to a lot of the Southeast Asian countries.
Okay, and there are also a lot of people who starts to like it, I guess. And also, okay, what do you think can stop the growth or can deter the growth of this? Like, of course, we want Indonesia to be a good art environment, but what do you think can stop it?
I think
or make it slow.
Yeah, I think it's important, especially in the country and this era now, where we are really believing in diversity, right? And I think if this political issue is really not solving, then it will slow down the art market or the art industry. Yeah, but other than that, I think it should be fine. It should be quite interesting, and I think we'll be one of the biggest art industry for this Southeast Asia.
Okay,
definitely.
And the next one is Artstage, right?
Yes,
that's one of the biggest in Southeast Asia, right?
Yes.
Artstage.
Yeah, so Artstage, our mother company is actually in Singapore, and we are the biggest art fair or the flagship art fair of Southeast Asia. And so last year, our founder Lorenzo Rudolph have decided to set up a new fair in Jakarta. And this new fair in Jakarta started in August last year, and it went very well. And so this August is our second edition.
Okay, what to be expected in Artstage?
Wow, this year is very exciting. I think this year at Artstage we're going to start something called the Artstage Jakarta Week. So we have worked with all the different cultural institutes like the French, the Italians, Goethe Institute, the Erasmus House, and they will come to feed in some programs where we'll be inside the Artstage Jakarta Week. You know, yeah, and also Artstage itself has 59 galleries with very good galleries that comes from Japan, Hong Kong, and Singapore, and so we're very confident with our programs. And also this year we're going to do a little art award. Okay. Yeah, so it will come up soon.
Sure. So yeah, definitely we cannot miss that one. And also, like, this is really interesting because Artstage is like a melting pot, I would say, for all of the Asian galleries, especially to come to Indonesia to see like, here are the prospects of the Indonesian art, and it also can promote our country, I think. Yeah. So it's really good. So yeah, we should really wait for this art day. When is it gonna be?
It will be August the 11th to 13th.
11 to 13. So make sure you check out the date, and make sure you come to experience the art world of Asia and Indonesia especially.
Right.
So yeah. So right now we're going to the com break. And also stay tuned with us on Venus TV Face to Face. We're going to talk more with Mr. Tom Tangier. Hello, smart viewers. Welcome back to BNews TV Face to Face, and we're still with Mr. Tom Tangier. So, Tom, you were in the board of Young Collector.
Yes.
And please share us about your involvement there. What is it like, and what are the activities there?
Right. So I'm sitting on the president of the board of Young Collectors, and what we do is Artstage Jakarta set up a board of young collectors to encourage young collectors to encourage other friends to collect.
Okay.
Yeah, so Artstage Jakarta really hope that the board of young collectors would help to share their experience as young collectors, what they do, what to do in the fair, where you can learn things and meet people. So last year we have 16 board members, and this year we have 25. And out of the 25, usually we gather together for dinners, and we sometimes would invite an artist to come and be a speaker among our dinner, so that we can learn about what is the latest work that this artist is doing, or what is he latest projects and things like that. So as a member of the board of young collectors, usually what we do is we invite other friends to the dinners, and also invite to the fair, so that they can see some of the international contemporary artworks that you usually don't see in Jakarta. Yeah.
Okay, I believe a lot of young people, they want to collect. Like, me personally, I want to be like you, like collect arts and being in the artwork, being actively involved in the artwork.
Right.
What do you think the best way to start it? The step?
Yeah, I think that when I first started collecting, I think the reason why I get to learn so much of things is because I have quite a few mentors. Really, I do. Like one of them is another collector of mine called Wiyuwa Hono, who taught me how to collect. I hang out with a curator like Alia Swastika. I also have this another mentor, Vera Wijaya. And then, you know, so I have all these friends who are mentors who taught me about things, you know. And I think spending time with experienced people is the best way to learn more. And also, I hang out a lot with artists. And I really think young people who, you know, if you really like art, just go to Jogja, go to Bandung, stay one weekend with the artists, and it will change the way you see things and way you see life. And it'll be great. And you start collecting.
Interesting.
And sometimes collecting really is not expensive. It's, I think, yeah, it's you really fall in love with something, and if that thing really changed the way you see the world, it's so worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your long term in the art world?
Of course, I do hope that one day that the Indonesia will have a contemporary art museum. Like now, as I said just now, Macan Museum is setting up in November, but I do hope the government will have a contemporary art museum by its own. Okay. And hopefully I could be, you know, invited to be involved in this museum, which I really hope so. Interesting.
Okay, last one. What is your message for the youth who wants to be in art world, like maybe like how to more to see art or appreciate art, maybe? I think message for you. Yeah, I think for especially college students, I think the first effort that you have to do is to come to a lot of exhibitions. Yeah, to see a lot of exhibitions, to see a lot of shows, and see what you like. And when you see a certain work that you like, Google the name of the artist, and you know, I myself, I also started a foundation called Indo Art Now Foundation. Indo Art Now. Yes. Okay. And so if you go to indoartnow.com, it's where you actually search the certain kind of artists that you want to meet, and if you like a certain artist, there's actually a video profiling on certain artists, so you can find out more about the artist through the website also. Okay. So I do think that the younger people don't just take Instagram pictures, but also, you know, find aesthetic. Yeah, you have to find out more about the artist, or what does he do, what does he like, and why does he do this certain kind of artworks, and so then you encourage them to see more deeper about artworks, and then when you're used to it. It's very easy. Once you see a certain kind of artwork, logically you just understand, and you can find a reason or the concept behind the work without asking the artist. Okay, before we end, I'm curious. Like, do you have a definition for taste? What does taste means to you? Like, okay, I have a good taste or a bad taste. Do you have
I don't
like
believe
definition of that.
I don't have a definition of taste. I have a friend who believes that taste can be developed, but I personally I don't believe that. Like I think taste is just personal preference, and I think especially in art world, it's about how you are related to the work and how it's affecting you and things like that. So I think
so. It's more subjective. There's
very
no such thing as a bad taste or good taste.
Right, right.
It comes back to your personality.
Exactly.
Okay, it's really interesting. And yeah, so let's sum this up. We have talked about the art world of Indonesia and how it is so perspective that the art world of Indonesia, and Mr. Tom has also shared to us, like, how can we really see art? It's more about the concept behind the artwork, the artist, like what is he or she trying to convey. And also for August 11
to 13.
to 13,
Yes.
don't forget to visit Artstage Jakarta. You can see various environment of art, especially from Southeast Asia, and also they got special programs, so make sure you don't miss out. So in the end, thank you so much for Mr. Tom Tandio
Thank you
for coming. Thank you for sharing with us, and thank you for your inspiration, especially to the youth.
All right.
Like telling us how to really see art, because it's really interesting. So thank you so much, and also thank you for the Venus TV crew, and stay tuned with us every Friday 1:30, and make sure you log on to www.venus.tv, and see you again.